Today, we're back with a bit of an old school style video where I'm going to be checking out 5 incredible AliExpress cycling products that I genuinely use all the time and have found to be excellent value. So let's not mess around anymore and let's get started straight away. And first up, we have these Spexcel Bib shorts. Now, these shorts have been incredible. As you may remember, in a previous episode, I talked about really liking YKYW bike, I think that's how you say it, bib shorts. And they're about sort of 15 to 20 pounds. But these Spexcel shorts, yes, they come in a little bit more expensive at 30 quid. But I think they are a real step up in quality and definitely worth spending that little bit extra on. The pad is really nice and soft and supportive, whilst not being too thick and uncomfortable and causing loads of rubbing. Something I really appreciate. It's got dead good quality leg grippers that really stay rock solid in place, and the seams are cut really nicely on them as well. The straps are super comfortable, proper taped affair, and I find this the most comfortable strap design really for bibs, as they don't dig into your shoulders. The fit of these shorts for a tall rider like myself isn't perfect, but they are actually close enough and not a complete sort of Asian style fit that they're not going to work for sort of my long legs. And I found them to be super comfortable for even long endurance rides on the turbo, which is the most difficult time for a pair of bib shorts to perform. You know, sweatier than normal, you're moving around less than normal. So yeah, definitely the best way to torture test a set of shorts is a long endurance ride on the turbo. Well, that is 4 hours done on the turbo in these Spexcel shorts. So yeah, just take a look. Oh, that was a long session. But yeah, shorts have held up absolutely spot on. No soreness or anything, which, yeah, 4 hours on the turbo, that's a proper torture test. Now, yes, these are not on the same level as some, you know, more premium bib shorts like the Sirocco SRX Pros that I absolutely love riding in, but they cost over twice the price of these, and you definitely get what you pay for. But yeah, for the money, I really cannot complain at these shorts. When you're training as much as me, if you don't have enough pairs of shorts, you are constantly doing laundry, you know, 6 days training a week, on my rest day doing laundry. It's really useful to have a big rotation of cheap bib shorts for putting in the work on the turbo. And very quickly, before we go into the next item, I've noticed almost 80% of you are not currently subscribed. So do me a massive favor, scroll down below and click the subscribe button. I really want to try and get to 10,000 subscribers, as I've got a really exciting plan for a 10,000 subscriber special. On to the next one then, and this next product is one that I found to be super useful and actually a genuine problem solver for me. And that is these HY seat posts. If you've been around the channel for a while now, you may have noticed me use one on my sub 5 kilo BMC hill climb build. And there were 2 main reasons for it. Firstly, they are incredibly light. I think the one I put on the BMC was under 120 grams, which, you know, compared to the stock BMC seat post was saving me about 50 to 60 grams compared to an already light carbon one. And secondly, because I could get this version in a 0 offset. Now, finding a 0 offset seat post for an old 2014 BMC that doesn't use a round post is an absolute nightmare. But this company HY make a huge catalogue of proprietary seat posts that are designed to be run in either 0 or 15mm offset. And now this has been a real problem solver as well on my Trek de Marne, as I was finding with the stock seat mast, I couldn't quite safely get the saddle just that bit high enough. I was about 5 to 10mm below where I needed my saddle height at the minimum insertion. But with the HY seat post, I managed to buy an extra long, in fact, way too long seat post for my Trek, and I've got no issues getting a saddle. I mean, you could probably get a saddle height of over 1 meter on it now with a seat post this long. If you need something a little bit more obscure for a bike they definitely don't make things for anymore, this HY brand really has you covered. Now, the biggest downside with these HY posts, and I think it just comes from how niche they are, is they are rather expensive. They do cost just north of £100 each, which for a seat post is pretty painful. But I think, you know, if it's going to save an old frame that isn't going to work without it, it's definitely a world easier just to order one from there than trawling eBay to try and find a decent nick second-hand one. Trust me, I spent about a year trying to find a decent one for my BMC and really struggled. Now, before we go on to item number 3, on AliExpress, prices can vary quite a lot. And I get a lot of comments saying, oh, but Tom, you said something cost X pounds, but when I looked, it cost a different price. When you shop smart on AliExpress, the prices can be way cheaper, and even cheaper than the prices I often quote in my videos. And there's three main ways you can save a load of money on the platform. The first one is shop when there's a sale on. For example, until the 25th of March this year, they've got their anniversary sale where there are some pretty huge discounts on a lot of products across the website. Secondly, you need to look out for some discount codes. For example, my exclusive discount codes that I will leave linked in the description and on screen right now, where you can save yourself a bunch more money. But if all of them savings aren't enough for you, you can even get yourself some cash back on top of it. I'm going to put a QR code on screen for my cashback team, which gets added to your AliExpress balance and is a nice bit of pocket money for when you go to buy another purchase down the line. And the best part, the more people that join, the more cashback we all get. Right, on to the next item. And the next one is an update on a product I've been using for around 6 months now, and I have had absolutely no issue with it. As you'll know, I keep banging on about how much I love the Spedao Road monoblock cassettes. But you may know, on my gravel bike, I've been running one of their sort of gravel/mountain bike cassettes. And this cassette is a 12 to 50 tooth XD3 hub cassette. Now they do also make an HD version designed to be run with a mountain bike rear mech. So when you're running a mullet on a gravel bike, like I do with my GX Axis, it is absolutely spot on. And I was skeptical, you know, I've had mixed experiences with AliExpress cassettes in the past. Like the ZTTO one I killed during a hill climb race. Now I know it does have an aluminium 50 tooth. The rest of it is absolutely spot on. And actually, the aluminium 50 tooth, I think because it's such a big ring and the load is distributed, well, it's basically the size of a chain ring, it's nowhere near as much of a problem as when you're using an aluminium ring, you know, for the 20 tooth on a road cassette, where it's going to get chewed up a heck of a lot more. And yeah, if you look at the wear on this cassette, yeah, some of that nice rainbow coating is starting to wear off now, but the teeth profiles are still spot on and shifting genuinely hasn't been an issue. I swapped from an XG1275 GX Eagle cassette to this Spedao one, and I couldn't tell you the difference in terms of shift quality. It was a super easy swap, and yeah, my GX one had seen better days and is also really heavy. The best thing about these Spedao cassettes is just how cheap they are. If you compare it to the price of a GX one, these Spedao cassettes seem to be on sale for about 50 to 60 quid at the minute, whereas a GX cassette will set you back about 140, over twice the price. And what's worse, the GX cassettes are way heavier than these Spedao ones. So if you want something weight comparative from SRAM, you're looking at the X01 XG1295 cassette, which, unless they're on sale, will cost you an eye-watering £300 for just a cassette. Like, that is insane money and something I would never even dream of spending. All I want now is them to come out and make a 13-speed T-type version, as there doesn't seem to be any AliExpress brands making them yet. I really want to give 13-speed SRAM Explorer a go, but I definitely don't want to be forking out the kind of cash they want for one of their first-party cassettes. And sticking on this theme of SRAM, the next part is another thing that SRAM loves to rip you off on. And this is the batteries that AXS use. Somehow, SRAM has played a blinder and seems to be able to get away with charging 50 quid for such a tiny little rechargeable battery that clips on your rear mech. I cannot believe that anybody would pay this, and that I paid this as well when I was buying batteries. Now, it's not too bad if you've bought an off-the-shelf bike or you bought like a complete group set that came with the batteries, that generally the pricing sort of just factored in there. But when you need to go and buy the batteries individually, yeah, it's such a painful experience. You know, if you're running 2x, that's 100 quid on just batteries. But of course, AliExpress comes to the rescue again. I've been using, this is just a brand new one I've just bought for another build, these HSA BAT, but actually they're branded up as ZRZT on the box, batteries that are designed to be compatible with SRAM AXS. Now, like with all Chinese parts, I wouldn't go too in depth and trust too much the specs they list on the battery themselves, but they do claim this to be an 8,000 milliamp hour battery, which in theory is a larger capacity than the stock SRAM ones. But yeah, as I said, I'm not sure I trust that. However, from experience, I mean, not this exact one, but from the other one I've been running on my GX rear mech and actually had forgotten about it was working that well, the battery life seems at least on par with SRAM, and I don't have to be constantly thinking about recharging it. Now, what do these cost? These are not the cheapest third-party SRAM batteries you can buy. There are some super cheap no-name ones on AliExpress, but these ones at least, well, they seem to put two different brand names to them, and they had pretty good reviews, so hence why I bought into these ones. And they cost me about 15 quid. So that means for the price of one SRAM battery, you can get at least 3 of these to have for your 2x bike, front and rear mech, and one in your saddlebag. Yeah, you've saved yourself a ton of cash, even if down the line they don't last as long as a SRAM one. I have to say, even at 15 quid, these seem quite expensive. So that tells you how much SRAM are getting away with ripping us off for their proper AXS ones. And for item number 5, those of you that don't run SRAM AXS can sigh a bit of a relief as we're looking at something completely different now. And this is an upgrade to a previous item I was using quite a lot. And if you watch one of my previous episodes, you'll see I used to run a little stick-on Garmin mount on the back of my phone case. I used to get endless questions off like random non-cycling people what that was. Was it one of them silly little pop-out phone holder things? But I've actually upgraded to something even better. Now, the problem with these stick-on Garmin mounts is it is a bit of a faff taking your phone on and off the mount. And also, you can't have it in both portrait or landscape. It's only the way that you've got your actual Garmin mount set up either on your phone or on your bike. But in recent time, I found this MagSafe compatible Garmin phone mount. Now, it just literally quarter turns into your Garmin mount and has a little round MagSafe ring that I have an iPhone and it works absolutely spot on with. Super quick just to slap your phone on if you want to spin it portrait, landscape, whatever you want. And you don't have to deface your phone case with sticking on a Garmin mount that can be a bit uncomfortable at times. As I said, I use an iPhone, but I think it should still work with any of the Android phones that all use that sort of Qi 2 style magnetic wireless chargers. But you'll have to check the exact specs of your phone to know for sure. This cost me about £8 as well, and all the parts attached with the standard 2/3 prong GoPro style mount if you wanted to adjust the angle or make it longer or shorter. So yeah, it's really flexible too, but I really probably would not be trusting this with my expensive phone on out on the road. This is definitely an indoor only kind of product. However, the quality seems brilliant, and it does include some like stick-on magnets for if your phone didn't have the sort of built-in magnetic charging system. Right, there you go then. That is all 5 items checked out. Let me know down below, or with this new quiz feature, which one was your favorite. And if you want to check any of them out, I'm going to leave my discount codes in the description below, along with links to every product. And while you're at it, if you want to join the cashback team to start saving even more money, the QR code's on screen right now. Currently, I've just started testing out this Ride Now TPMS1 tyre pressure monitoring system on the recommendations of my members. And if you want to vote on the next product, get yourself signed up right now. But that's all we've got time for today. And until the next one, I'll see you all soon.